Canon PowerShot V1 unboxing. In this video, I'm gonna do a test footage comparison with the V1 here in 4K mode and compare it to the only other Canon cameras that I have left. What we got here is, this is a Canon V10, which the V series, I guess it stands for vlog, they're companions here, compadres. Then I have a Canon 5D Mark IV. It's a DSLR. I used to have the Canon R5 and then the R7 and other mirrorless cameras from Canon. I've since gotten rid of that because I've migrated to Sony, but I kept this one because this OG is pretty solid still. And lastly, this is the G7X Mark II. I did a video on the Mark III back in 2019. What I didn't like about the Mark III was the overheating issues that I don't know if they ever fixed, but the overheating, battery life, huge issues with the Mark III. The color chart, I always like to do to see what the colors look like. I'm gonna shoot the color chart. What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna match the picture profiles. For Canon, I love their neutral picture profile. That's the N for neutral. I zero them out. And I believe all of these have that. The V10 might not have the neutral, so if they don't have that, I'll shoot with something that's equivalent so that they can all match in color. I'm gonna shoot it all at 24p, and then I'm going to use the daylight white balance preset. Okay, I'm shooting all these cameras right now at f4, ISO 400. They're all at their neutral picture profile. And yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna pick up the Canon here. The Canon, when you shoot MJPEG 4K, it does crop into the sensor a lot. So there's what it looks like when it's cropped in. But these what all the cameras look like at f4. Autofocus is on. Yep, this is what all the cameras look like. These are just my initial first impressions of the Canon V1. Things that I like about this camera. First, now that they have a fan, supposedly there's no overheating. I haven't done an overheating test yet, but from what I've been using this so far, overheating has not been an issue like it had been with the G7X Mark III. This is the Mark II, but with the Mark III was notorious for overheating, at least for me when I had it, and then I got rid of it. But this, because of the thickness and what Canon is really ensuring for people that use this, they're saying that this is not going to overheat. And depending on the codec that you're using, you can have an unlimited record time. In the past, Canon would always limit you to under 30 minutes of record time, and now you have unlimited depending on the codec that you choose. It does shoot Canon C-Log 3 at 422 10-bit. Now, I haven't been able to find out if it is exactly 422. I've seen the information on the Canon website saying it shoots 10-bit and log, but I haven't seen 422. I've seen other sites that say it can do 422 10-bit. Canon log settings, you turn it on to C-Log 3, and then you have the view assist where it throws on a LUT, the 709 LUT, so you're not looking at a completely washed out image on your screen. So let me just turn that on, turn everything on, and then when I go back to the camera here, the LUT is already applied, but this is 422 10-bit. You have all the manual controls, exposure controls like you should. So here, you can just tap and then change your shutter speed, change your aperture. It only opens up as far as 2.8. It looks like 800 is the base ISO. I haven't seen any documentation where it says this, but just judging from the camera here, it appears that's what it looks like when, without the L here, when you don't see that L. So you can shoot at lower ISOs, but it's doing something that's not making the sensor as clean as you can be when you shoot native the native ISO, which it looks like it appears to be 800. I don't think this is a dual native ISO. This is not in this kind of a camera, but you have all your other picture profiles as well. These are the same kind of picture profiles that you would have on the Canon DSLR and mirrorless cameras, the interchangeable lens cameras. And you can put in 3 of your own picture profiles. And I know I used to have those Cine D or the Cinema flat picture profile look back in the day. This allows you to do that, and you have some degree of control over the image. So it's 2-channel, not 4-channel, and you do have your mic and a headphone jack, but they added this smart shoe up here, and then you can connect the shotgun microphones that Canon makes that can utilize that connection that should transfer the audio without any cables and power the shotgun mic. There's still not accessories that Sony has where you have the wireless systems that can utilize their hot shoe. But I hope Canon comes out with stuff like that. But right now, it's only really shotguns, and then if you want to use this for if you're doing this for photography, strobes. That's what you would use that electronic connection there for. The microphone here comes with like a dead cat, very similar to Sony's ZV-1. It looks like they were copying it. And I've noticed in some outdoor tests, this is very wind prone. So if you're a slight breeze, the wind is going to be too distorted, and you're going to need this included adapter. I hope I don't lose this. I love how easy it is to control this camera's exposure settings and other settings within the menu system with that one touch. I also like that this has an ND filter, a built-in ND filter that you toggle on and off really simply, just like that. And with the ND filter, it's a 3-stop ND filter. Unfortunately, there's no lens thread on the lens up here, so you cannot screw on any other kind of ND filter or any filters. And when you do turn it off, the shutter here would prevent you from taping something on, because I know there was some hacks in other cameras like this where you would tape on a screw mount for lenses. This one, maybe you want to do that. I don't want to do that. So you're stuck with the 3-stop NDs, but this gives you 3 stops of ND. Click of a button, video, and I think for stills. Right here, there's a photo and video switch. You can toggle between that. And when you go between these different modes, all the settings, exposure settings, any kind of settings that you have in the camera stays with each one. So you can have your own photography settings and your own video settings, and when you swap them, all your video settings aren't gonna transfer over to your photo. They're not gonna be the same. They're separate. They're 2 separate settings when you toggle back and forth. I like that. Some cameras didn't do that in the past. You would go shoot video, and then when you swap over to stills, all your video settings are with your still photography. This one, it fixes that. Canon put their latest and greatest dual pixel autofocus in this camera, and I have noticed a huge jump in autofocus quality and the reliability. The problem, though, maybe it's a trade-off I don't think Canon is really focusing for the manual shooters when it comes to autofocus. These knobs here going up and down with this bar, and then once you set it and you're recording, you just have to hope that what you put manually in focus is in focus. This lens ring right here, you can only program this to adjust your shutter speed or your iris. You can't program this to be your focus, which I wish you were able to program this ring to be your focus ring, but you can't. And another thing with this ring, it's just silent, just turns like this. Whereas if you had the G7X, you were more accustomed to the click and the non-click. So here's the click, and then there's a switch right here, and then it's no click. I like that. I like that a lot, but I guess Canon thinks you don't need that anymore. The image stabilization is also really great here. There's other camera systems where once you do certain settings, you lose image stabilization. But here, you have image stabilization without any crop, and it looks pretty good. I'm still testing the battery life on here. From what I've read, some other reviews saying that the battery life isn't the best. So I'm going to buy extra batteries, and then I'll do a review of this third-party batteries that I'm going to get. So the battery life might be an issue, so you want to load up on batteries. But that goes for all of these small cameras when you're shooting for long periods of time. I also heard some complaints that the quarter twinner right here is too close to the battery door and the SD card door. So if you are putting this on a tripod, even those smart Arca Swiss tripod plates, you're blocking off the battery door and the SD card door, so you're gonna have to take off the plate, take everything off in order to swap these things. I'm gonna make another video once I figure this out. But the USB-C here, supposedly this can become a web camera just via USB-C. So you plug the USB-C in, and it's supposed to turn, it samples down to 1080 at 30p, you're locked at that. But this is supposed to be used as a webcam, and both the video and the sound is supposed to transfer through that USB. So far, I've attempted to do that, and I cannot figure that out yet. It does not work automatically with Zoom or QuickTime or any of the webcam apps. That hasn't worked yet. So I'm still figuring that out. And the last thing with the power system here. So let's say you want to run this camera for an hour, 2 hours of a record time. The battery's not gonna last that long. So you need some kind of external battery source to power this camera. Now, the USB-C is how you charge the battery. This does not come with a battery charger. You charge the battery with USB-C, and then when the camera's off, it charges. But when the camera is on, not all USB-C cables and chargers are allowing this to run at the same to power it, because there's other cameras like the Panasonic and Sony where when you plug the USB-C PD power delivery in here, it automatically feeds the power and you don't have to swap batteries. This one is not doing that, and I've had the same problem with the V10 here where this is an internal battery, so I can't swap batteries. When I want to run this for a very long time, there's certain USB-C power deliveries that will work and will power this camera with that connection. And then there's a lot that don't. And I haven't figured out why or what's the purpose of why some work and some don't. I looked on the Canon website, and Canon does sell a USB-C to AC adapter that's different. It has a little bit of some kind of power delivery that's different from what I've seen from other manufacturers. So it looks like there's something going on with Canon's USB-C connections to power their cameras, like the V1 here, where you got to buy their system, their cable, in order to power this for long run times. I'm looking into buying that adapter. I think that adapter is quite pricey, and hopefully there's third-party companies that are going to make knockoffs of it that for cheaper. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts of the Canon V1 for right now. It is pricey. There are a little bit of quirks. There might be more quirks the more I use this, but this is, as far as video quality and stills quality, this is delivering all of the things that I think Canon people have been asking for their point and shoots from the past, like the G7X series. Canon's giving you this. And so far, I like it.